Welcome back to the Infinite Goal Podcast. Today, we're going to discuss perfectionism. And what you like to say is, just do the dang thing.
Yeah, just do the dang thing. I myself described myself. I myself described myself a lot before as a perfectionist and thinking it was kind of a good thing. And it's really not, because if you focus on everything being perfect and try to make everything exactly how you want it to be, or how you think it should be before you think about starting something, truth is you're never going to get started because it's never going to be perfect. It's never going to be just right. You just have to do it to get started. Just do it. Just start. And eventually along the way, you'll learn what works, what doesn't, whatever it is that you're working on, whatever it is that you're getting started with. Maybe it's a podcast. Maybe it's starting a business. Maybe it's, writing music or doing artwork, what have you. You just have to start. You don't have to be perfect. You don't have to be great to start. You just have to start to get to be great.
One thing I was thinking about the other day is it that sometimes we call ourselves a perfectionist and we're just using that terminology, but it's actually not because we're a perfectionist, but it's because we're prolonging it because we don't want to do it.
I think that could go one of two ways. But yeah, I think if you're calling yourself a perfectionist, then your body and your brain and essentially start to actually believe it, then it doesn't know any other way.
Because I'll be honest, I think we talked about this. I got our whole setup for you to sing, and then I got it also because I was like, I need to start a podcast. So I was like, that's what everybody's doing. This is early last year.
Yeah.
Everybody's doing it. And how do I get viewers? How do I get people to listen to me? How do I just even get the information that I have out?
Yeah.
And I don't think it was perfectionist why I didn't start. I really think I was just not wanting to do it or scared to do it.
Yeah, I think that's pretty accurate. I think we also we were trying to make sure that we had everything that we needed, and we thought that we had to have the top of the line equipment, and we don't. You just if you
just a regular microphone.
Yeah, seriously, just some basic stuff. It doesn't have to be the most expensive piece of equipment on the market. I think a lot of the professionals will tell you the same thing, that not everybody starts with spending thousands and thousands of dollars on all of their equipment. And you just start somewhere. You could start at the bottom just to start experimenting and to start playing around with stuff. Because if you get going and you realize, yeah, your phone, exactly.
These cameras are amazing.
Yeah, I think there's, I want to say, is it Kanye West that recorded like an entire album on his freaking phone? Yeah. He didn't use all kinds of fancy equipment.
Did you then see his Super Bowl ad? That was pretty bad.
Yeah.
Don't do that.
I have ignored it.
Don't do that. Don't do that. At least put some effort into it.
I mean, I didn't pay much attention to your Super Bowl because I just didn't care. I mean, my team wasn't playing, so my heart wasn't there. I didn't care. I had more important things to do than focus on all the commercials and or the game. I personally did not care, even though I do love watching football and watching our team play. Yeah. But I didn't care this year. But then, anyways, that's off. That's another different subject.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, you don't have to have like the top of the line equipment. And the fact that we just kind of started piecing things together, and eventually everything started to fall into place. And then finally we just said, let's just do it. Mm-hmm. What are we waiting for? Because it's not going to be, we're not going to have all the ducks in a row. We're not going to have everything perfect the way we want it to. We just need to get going. And once we start, get into a flow of things and figure out what works, what sticks, what doesn't, and then we kind of just learn from, what we've experimented with, and then we know what to do or what not to do. And I think we've picked up pretty quickly from it.
I'd say so. I mean, what did we just do? We just literally re-recorded our trailer and just re-recorded intros because we decided last minute that we were going to change the name of the podcast.
Yeah.
So you got to just get started with whatever it is that you're trying to do. Just get started, and you can fix things. You can change things along the way, and it does not have to be perfect. I know for a fact these podcasts aren't perfect, and they're just going to keep getting better and better and better. And how do you get better?
By doing.
By doing.
Just by doing.
Yeah.
And I heard somebody once say, like, practice doesn't make perfect. Perfect practice makes perfect. I'm like, before, I believe at the time when I heard this person tell me this, I believed it. And I think it's because I was in a completely different mindset. So I didn't think of it the way that I think about it now. I think that saying is just out the window for me now. And you shouldn't go by that. But don't take my word for it. I think just by doing, getting the reps in, and we're starting to learn that. We're not professionals at this yet. We're just getting started. And this is a prime example of showing you like where we've started, where we are right now, and compared to where we're going to be in 3 months, 6 months, a year, and so on. That you can only get better from here. The more reps that you get in and the more practice that you put in.
Consistency.
Yeah, consistency.
Yeah. That's the one thing that we were going back and forth as well, is when we were starting this podcast. Okay, do we do, just interviews? Do we do just you and I? Do we do both? Like, how are we going to do it? And then how many are we going to do? And I decided, and you were all on board with it, is we were going to do one interview a week, and then it's going to be you and I once a week, or a solo. And the reason we decided on that was because of the consistency. We decided, like, okay, how many weeks are in there in a year? 52, right? Okay, so if you do 52 podcasts in a year, well, what happens if you did 104 podcasts in a year? Like, just imagine how much further along you're going to be, how many more viewers you're going to have, how many more people you've helped along the way, and then how much better are we going to be after we do 104 of these rather than just 52? Like, it's astronomically how much better we're going to be.
Yeah.
Now, do we do maybe sometimes 3 times a week? Who knows? Maybe there's some thought.
Get a bonus.
Yeah, maybe a thought comes up in our mind and we're like, we need to do one. And again, it doesn't have to be perfect. It doesn't even have to really be great. It just has to be good. And we just have to put out the content that we want to put out, and it will eventually become way better than it is right now.
Yeah. And honestly, I don't think people are even looking for greatness out there. They want to resonate with you. They want to feel like they're understood because they hear your story and they're like, wow, me too. And then they realize that they're not alone.
Correct. Well, on that note, what in this past, let's say, year, and I don't even think it's been a year, it's been probably like 8 months when we've really dived into our mindset. What has changed for you or helped you? Like, what tools have you kind of enacted that have helped you get past that perfectionism point and then moved on into the doing the work phase?
Wow. Well, it's been constant work, and it's always going to be. I recognize that getting out of my comfort zone was like the first step.
Mm-hmm.
And it wasn't like completely uncomfortable, if you will. It was like kind of the early stages of making the shift and doing some of the smaller things. I have listened to a ton of audiobooks already by now. I've read a handful of other books.
Thank you, Dr. Greg Campbell. We appreciate that.
Yeah.
We definitely would not have done that on our own.
No, you and I both, I think growing up, we were not big readers in school.
No.
In fact, I hated it. But I think a lot of it was also I didn't enjoy what I was reading. So that had a big impact.
Yeah.
So, and then a lot of it was just, I feel like the stuff that we read in school, some of the books, like what it was, Lord of the Flies. Well, Lord of the Flies was one that I kind of remember.
I feel like it was forced upon us.
It was, yeah. Well, I mean, it was part of the curriculum.
Yes.
Had to do it. So, and half of that book, I don't think I read a thing. We were like having to check off and highlight in the book and write cliff notes and everything, and had to show our teacher, oh yeah, we read the book. Here, this was a influential line that they included in here. It wasn't influential for shit.
It's called Cliff Notes. That's what I used. I read the first page and the last page of every chapter, and then the Cliff Notes.
Okay,
that's it.
So you got smart. I didn't. I had to work a little harder, but I still kind of, in a way, BS'd my way through it because I was just like, all right, whatever, we're gonna get this done.
Yep.
The books that I enjoyed reading back then were like all the Twilight series. Call me a nerd. I liked the Twilight series. All the girls, we went through that and we slammed those books.
Because there's a lot of intellectual knowledge from those, right?
Well, we didn't know at the time. We didn't know at the time. We just really enjoyed it. The drama behind it, the love behind it, And the 50 Shades of Grey series, that was after high school, but that was more college days. And so that was also something that we liked because there was love story, there was lust, and all this that we were interested in reading at the time. Now I'm like, no, give me something that's going to feed my brain, something that's going to help me improve today, something I can implement in the days coming to make me a better person and to change my mindset and help me influence others that need my help. And one of my favorite books, and I'm definitely going to read it again, is The Power of One More by Ed Milet. I loved that book. Because I was listening to him on his podcast and have watched YouTube videos of him and have gone on those live like summits that him and a bunch of other speakers have done. I know what the sound of his voice sounds like. So when I'm reading through the book, I feel like I can actually hear him. That's how deep into the book that I was. There were countless times I even cried during the book because I resonated so much with his writing. And another one was Worthy by Jamie Kern Lima. I really loved her book as well.
Great book as well.
Constantly.
It's back there.
Yep, right. It's on the shelf over there somewhere. Yeah. I really enjoyed her book as well. Yeah, they both are. But yeah, reading those, and obviously now I think I'm taking in a lot more audiobooks than anything because, it's easier to listen to a book and do the dishes or fold laundry, do those mindless things while I'm listening to the book. So then I'm getting to multitask. While normally before I started doing that, I would do it without listening to an audiobook, and then I couldn't physically pick up a book and read, or because I'm taking care of the kids and stuff like that. But if I have to, obviously engage with them, I'm not listening to it because then I'm really not absorbing the book and absorbing all of the knowledge.
Or being present with them.
Exactly. Or being present with them. So yeah, doing a lot of the audiobooks has helped me tremendously. And especially, if people are saying, well, I don't have time to read or I don't have time to listen. Bullshit. We have the same amount of hours in a day. Everyone has it. You just have to coordinate and schedule your days that work for you to where you can squeeze that time in. And you have to recognize what are you going to prioritize?
There it is.
You have to prioritize it. If you're not prioritizing it, it's not going to happen.
Nope.
So yeah, like getting started with reading and doing the audiobooks that's how I was really getting started with diving into like my mindset and shifting my focus to where I could accomplish more in a day and accomplish getting closer to my goals by doing what I needed to do to get closer, to get further.
You probably accomplish more in a day nowadays or more recently than you used to in like a month.
Yeah.
And I think the big one was the prioritizing. Doing the things that you need to do to get to where you want to be. And we have so much time in our day. Like one of the things a lot of people know, I drive around a lot during the day. There's a lot of things that I'm doing. One thing I used to do is I used to listen to a lot of music. And then it got to a point where I was listening to the exact same songs over and over and over and over and over again. And then you and I both know the music these days is not nearly as good as it used to be.
No, definitely not.
So I was getting tired of some of the songs that were coming up. I'm like, this is not country. Nope, this is not. Okay, I don't want to listen to this. And then I go back to the old school stuff and I'd listen to that. I'd be like, yes, this is great. And then I would listen to it and I'm like, well, I already went through it. So now it's Audible. So I've got the Audible on the Bluetooth and I can pause it. I can move on. I can backtrack if I need to. And I can get so much more listening done now than I ever would have before. And I can't pull up a book. I can't just grab a book whenever I want. So these Audibles have been a game changer for me. And then the best part is you just hit that little clip button and it clips up the stuff that I want to save. And then I can go back, re-listen to it, or I can take a look and take notes later on if I want to. But I do like the idea and the concept that you mentioned of prioritizing and what is it that you truly want. And that's kind of been the game changer for me, is looking at what our ultimate goals and our ultimate dreams are and being like, okay, what, and you could kind of see it. We don't have everything up there, but our vision board, we have a few things up there that we want. Okay, well, how are we going to get there? What do we need to do to get to those spots? And what do we have to do? Yeah. One of the things that we weren't doing is we weren't providing enough information to people. Mm-hmm. And a lot of people did not know what we know. Yeah. They didn't know what we were doing. They didn't know everything we were learning, all the events we were going to and everything. Well, how do we get people to know? Well, we start posting them on Instagram. So we started posting them on Instagram. Then we realized that we really aren't the biggest fans of getting on there and doing the let's get the hook in there. Let's do the call to action in there. And then we got to get this all in like 7 seconds, and we got to get all excited. And so that way you watch and you view it and we're like, this. No.
We both did not like being in front of the camera. And I think I still kind of don't, but I mean, we are, we're doing it. And I think it's a little bit different with the podcast versus like
way different.
Filming our, like little short clips.
Yeah, we're just like trying to get
trying
to get in the right angle.
Yeah, the right angle. Does that look right?
Yeah.
Again, that's where we were trying to like perfect things and get things right. And we just need to just try to do it in the one clip. And if you mess up, you mess up.
And
because
exactly.
That's where we're being our true selves. We're being authentic, and people will relate to us more. And so I think that's been a big acceptance thing for me anyways, is realizing like, you know what, I'm going to do it how I do it, whether people like it, whether they don't.
Yep.
Care. I don't care anymore.
And that's another great book / Audible we just listened to was Let Them.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. That's
with Mel Robbins. That was a great one, is let them do them, and then let me do what I'm going to do. What is beneficial to, what is beneficial to us? What is beneficial to our family? And if you get into the habit now of let them and forget about what they say, forget about what they do, who cares? People are going to say things because they don't know or they're jealous as to what you're doing or where you're going. That's just what's going to happen. That's the haters on the internet. That's haters in general. Is if you look and you take a look at the majority of people that are above you and where you want to go, they aren't hating on you. The people that are talking shit
don't have time.
No.
They don't have time.
Exactly.
I just finished Grant Cardone's book, Be Obsessed or Be Average. That book was amazing. I'm definitely going to go back and listen to it again. I just love his energy, and I really I felt his power through my phone while I'm listening to it, and it got me more obsessed, if you will, with what we're doing. And he talks about, good obsessions versus bad obsessions. And, he talks about how haters and the naysayers, he's like, I can't remember which one he was specifying, but either way, like when they're hating on you or they're having something negative to say, it's really because they don't have an understanding of where you're coming from, of what you're doing or why you're doing it, or it's where they don't understand why they didn't do what they wanted to do. Why they didn't make their choice of driving forward with whatever it was that they were obsessed with, because maybe somebody shot that down from them, and then they thought that they couldn't do it because they listened to those external noises and people that were saying things. Especially when it's people that are closest to you, that's the hardest thing. Grant Cardone talks a lot about how his mom would kind of basically respond to him with worry when he would come and share stuff with her, like about a big deal that he was about to make or A, B, C, and D. And she would be like, well, making like being the worrisome mother. And because they're
not trying to shoot you down, and you're like, maybe your closest friends, your family aren't trying to shoot you down on your dreams and your goals, but they're not there and they've never been there. So it's not their fault for being worried about you. That's what they're supposed to do.
Friends, come from a place from love.
Exactly. They're coming from love. They don't want you to get hurt. They don't want you to fail. So by them being worried for you, that's their way of saying, I don't know, and I don't want you to get hurt.
It's the unknown.
It's the unknown. It 100% is. And you just have to push through it. You have to get to where you want to go and push to that goal. And a lot of times, and you mentioned it earlier, is time. If you think you don't have time to start a hobby, if you think you don't have time to start a side job, if you don't think you have time to go for your dreams or goals, you are sadly mistaken. I mean, you really need to check the hours throughout the day and just schedule out, what are you doing for the next week, the next couple of days. Literally write out every single thing you do for that day, and take a look at it after a couple of days or after a week, and you'll really see, holy moly, I am wasting a lot of time.
I did that.
Doing absolutely nothing.
My growth process.
Yeah.
That's part of how I got started, along with all the, soaking in all the knowledge and reading all the books. I had to do a self-audit. What was I doing?
Yes.
What was I doing each day? How much time was I spending on my phone? Infinite scrolling. Like, it's easy to do.
Yeah.
you get that dopamine hit every time you get on your
Every single time.
You pick your phone up just by picking your phone up and looking at your screen. Dopamine hit.
And if you do that first thing in the morning, so literally the second that your alarm goes off, if you hit your alarm and then you start going through it, you have now increased that dopamine hit, and you are now programming yourself throughout the day that you are going to continue to look at your phone. You are going to continue to look for that dopamine hit. What you need to do is one of two things. If you don't have the wherewithal and the power to not look at your phone, then you need to get a different alarm and use the different alarm. If you do, then you need to hit the off button, get out of bed, and start your day.
Yep.
You don't need to have the extravagant 3-hour morning routine that some gurus and everybody says. Now, if that works for you, then do it. But if that doesn't, then don't do it. But what you need to do is you need to roll out of bed, get out of bed, and go do something. Whether that's a cold shower, whether that's go to brush your teeth, take your vitamins, throw some cold water on your face, throw your arm in the cold shower to like really get you going.
Oh, Robin's
Yep.
like, I can't go do the whole 5
minutes, 3 minutes, whatever.
She's like, nope, 90 seconds in the cold water up to my shoulder, I'm good.
Hey, you find out what works for you, but you have to do something.
Mm-hmm.
And then you go and do your day. Go drink some water. Don't go straight to the coffee. Again, you're screwing up your cortisol levels when you do that.
Mm-hmm.
Go drink some water, then get your coffee, write out what you're going to do for the day, or if you already wrote it out last night, then you know what you're going to happen and what you're going to do for the day. If you start tacking on all of those wins from the little things like, okay, I didn't look at my phone. Yeah, I threw my arm in the cold shower, brushed my teeth. Yeah, I got some water in.
Habit stacking.
There it is. You are now habit stacking, and you are more likely to win the day because you're motivated. You're like, whew, I just did that. I just did that. I just did that. I just did that. And now we're powering through. If you fail on the very first thing, you're setting up your day for disaster. You're setting your day up for that loss. Don't set your day up like that.
Yeah. The more that you get done and you start tackling all those things that you're working on getting done, and you habit stack all of those things in the morning to get your day going, all that's going to do is build your confidence.
Yes,
and then you're going to continue to progress.
Yeah. So how can we talked about this, and what would you say the biggest difference between discipline and motivation is? And I feel like because a lot of people are always like, well, I'm not motivated to get up. Well, I'm not motivated.
Nobody is.
Exactly.
Nobody is. It's no secret. Everybody goes through lack of motivation. Difference between the two. So motivation, it's a short-term feeling, while discipline is long-term.
Yeah.
And discipline just doesn't happen overnight. You build up over time to build it.
Mm-hmm.
And that way, when you don't feel like doing it, you lean into your discipline.
Yep.
Okay? Because with working out, we're not always motivated to do it. But if we're disciplined, we do it anyway.
Exactly.
If it's cold outside, if it's raining, if it's 100 degrees outside, okay, I mean, use your discretion. At your discretion, I mean, we're crazy. We go out and do it anyways. Yes. I'm used to doing, if I'm going to go do an outdoor workout, if I'm going to go for a run, I'll do it in the cold, the wind, the rain, the heat. I used to do it when I ran track and cross country in high school. We did it no matter what the weather was like. We just dressed accordingly. If it was extra hot, we hydrated even more than we normally would. And we just did it. You go out and you do it anyway. So you're leaning into your discipline. Yeah. When you're motivated, great. You're probably going to get even a better workout in. And, we wish that we had that motivated feeling every time. Sometimes we don't, and that's okay. That's totally normal. We're not always going to feel motivated to do something. You just lean into your discipline. If you're not disciplined yet, that's okay too. You got to start somewhere. And you keep building those habits of, you know what? I need to do it. I need to get it over with. Do it anyway.
Yeah.
As soon as you finish, you feel so much more accomplished.
Oh, yeah.
You feel so much better like, I did it.
Mm-hmm.
I freaking did it. I didn't want to do it, but I did it.
Oh, yeah. The confidence goes through the roof.
Exactly. Your confidence goes through the roof, and you're just like, okay, awesome. What's the next thing that I'm going to do? Should I spill my coffee?
And then also when you're disciplined and you do it, that's what's going to create that motivation. Mm-hmm. And then to tack onto that is when you are motivated, lean into it.
Mm-hmm.
Like, don't take advantage of the motivation you have. Like, if you're so motivated to get up every single morning, do it. If you're so motivated to work out every single day, do it. Lean into it. Lean into it harder, just like an avalanche. As the as the snowball starts rolling down the hill, it gets bigger and bigger and bigger, okay? If you're motivated, lean into it, because eventually you're not going to be. But if you're motivated right now and you're leaning into it, that's going to create the discipline. And then when you're not motivated, your discipline is going to take over. So you need to use both sides of it and work towards those dreams and goals that you have. You know, the other thing too is there is no get rich quick schemes. There is no lose 90 pounds in 30 days quick schemes. All right. So stop thinking that it's going to happen. Yeah. That it's going to happen overnight. Okay. Don't think that you have to be motivated and that you need the discipline because those things are going to happen right away. They are not going to. But if you're disciplined, you do your CDAs, your consistently daily actions, and you do those every single day, you will get to where you want to be. I guarantee it. It's going to happen.
You have to put in the work.
You have
to put in the work. And if you have something scheduled and that you know you need to get done at whatever particular time it is of the day, say you're like, oh, I'm gonna go work out at noon or 1 o'clock, and you say, oh, I don't feel like it right now, I'll do it later. No, don't do it later, because later means not. It's not happening, because I've done it. I've done it.
So have I.
Speaking from experience,
100%.
I have done it. I said, oh, I don't. You know what? I'm in the middle of this right now. I'm in a groove. I'm going to keep going with doing this. And whatever that thing wasn't that important. I needed to stop what I was doing, get that workout done, because later came and it didn't happen. So get it done when you schedule it.
Yeah. For me, my biggest issue was always, oh, I'll do it later. And then I will do it later because I'm crazy like that, but it's a half-ass workout. Yeah. That's what it ends up being. So like, if I'm like, oh, I need to get it done right now because I have the time, that's when I need to do it. Because if I don't and I go to do it later, most likely it's not going to be the best workout. And if I did it right then and there, it was going to be the good workout that it should be.
Yeah. But I mean, we also have talked about, like, even if it's not the greatest workout, it's still a workout. You 100%. You still got it accomplished. You still did the thing, even though you didn't want to.
Yeah.
The fact that you did it is
correct.
What counts.
A workout is better than no workout.
Exactly.
Reading some of the book is better than reading none of the book.
Don't have an all or nothing attitude.
No. Yeah. And that's what's been big lately is there's been some days where, I didn't read as much or listen to the Audible as much as I should have, but I got something done. I did something, and that's going to push us towards. I just read something the other day. The average person, that's what we are, reads one book a year. So like, that's the average person. So literally you could read 2 books and you are already better than the average person. And
I think is what the average is, like 10 pages a day or something like that. I
don't even know. But like, for example,
I read something.
Yeah. The Audible books are roughly, I listen to it at about 1.5 speed, sometimes 1.6, depends on how slow the reader is. The average books are anywhere between 5 hours to 7 hours. So you're telling me that you can't listen to 5 to 7 hours in, I don't even know what the math is right now, 365 times 24.
Yeah.
That is a lot.
That's a lot of books.
Yeah.
The other thing I think people are probably trying to understand, oh, well, like, do I got to get it done in all the whole 5-7 hours? No, you don't. You don't have. If you were reading a physical book, would you read it all in one sitting? No.
Nope.
No. Because, there are some people that will ask that question. Yep. So I'm just laid out for you. You don't have to listen to it all in one day. If you have a full day and say mom has a full day of no kids, nobody else to bother me or whatever, you want to go for a run, you want to go, I don't know, walk through the mall or have a romantic walk by yourself through Target. I don't know. If you want to listen to that.
Don't forget your coffee when you do that.
Well, yeah, and your coffee. Yeah. You can get it done.
Yeah.
You can get it done as long as you don't have anybody there that's distracting you or bothering you, like, while you're trying to listen to it. So that way you can fully interpret it and take all the knowledge in. Maybe you have to pause it and take some notes, maybe something that resonated with you, or you're like, wow, okay, I need to implement this.
Yeah.
I do that all the time. I'll stop the book, I'll write in my notebook, or I'll now write in my Remarkable
Yep.
the notes from the book that I'm listening to, and that way I can implement that into my day to day, however necessary.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so it doesn't have to be done in a day. Like there's some books where I'll finish one in a week because I listen to it for a little bit at a time each day, even if it's just for 30 minutes a day.
Mm-hmm.
You could still get it done.
Yeah.
You know, so I mean, obviously, I think we're listening at a more rapid rate.
We are.
Because Dr. Greg Kimball is assigning us lots of homework. Thank you. No, I like it though.
I think the best part too, to piggyback off of what I said earlier, is right now we're extremely motivated to learn and get stuff done. So we're tapping into it. We're like, we're exponentially utilizing that right now because we've never been in this phase of our life where we're extremely motivated to learn and to grow. So we're taking advantage of it because we do know there will be a time where we will probably get a little bit tired. We'll get a little burnt out. So we're going to take advantage right now and utilize this time and utilize the effort that we're putting into it to make us closer and to those dreams and goals that we have. So then when we do slow down, we're still going. We're still going to chug along.
Yeah.
But now we're doing a lot more than we normally would have.
True. Totally true. And I think the fact that we love it so much, we're not ever going to really be truly burnt out, if you will. I mean, like you said, we'll slow down, but we're not going to stop. We're not going to take a break, because when you take a break, then you kind of fall into complacency. And we're like, no, we don't want to be that way. We want to continue to grow because that's what humans are meant to do. We're meant to evolve.
Yes, 100%. And that's the thing. Piggybacking off of earlier when we talked about that you don't think you have time for your hobby, your side job, your second thing of this or that. You do have the time, and the thing that you need to do is find out what it is that you truly love and what you truly have a passion for. Because when you do that, that's when you're going to make the time for it. That's when you're going to put in the effort for it. If you don't know what it is yet, well, find it. Like you and I, we tried multiple things. We talked about in other episodes is we've done other things that, we may have enjoyed, but it wasn't our true passion. And you aren't going to find it if you're not trying.
Yeah.
If you're trying to be a perfectionist at one thing, well, if you focus so much time and effort into being a perfectionist at that one thing, but that's not what you truly love, you just wasted all of that time.
You're going to run yourself into a wall.
Yeah. You're going to be a ram.
Try to force yourself into doing something because you think it's your passion. If it really was your passion, you wouldn't have to force yourself. You would do it willingly. You would do it because you wanted to and because it made you happy and it gave you joy.
Yeah, exactly.
You got joy out of it. So you're going to find that you may try 100 other things and you're like, well, this didn't work. That didn't work. Or I didn't really like that, or maybe you didn't give it a chance. You didn't give it a chance, because that's another thing I've been reading a lot and hearing a lot by some other entrepreneurs or the entrepreneurs, I guess, if you will, is what they call them. They try something, or they start a business and they only went for 3 years or 5 years. Those first X amount of years are the hardest years. We're not even that far into it, but we're in the very still like infant stages of it right now. So we're like excited and whatnot, but the ones that get to like the 3 and the 5 year mark and like, oh, this isn't working, I'm not making that X amount of dollars. Well, that's because they were focused on the wrong thing.
Yes.
They were focusing on the money. They're focusing on like the great success and thinking that entrepreneurship happens overnight. It does not happen overnight.
No. Apple is not what Apple is today overnight. Amazon is not what Amazon is overnight. Apple started in the garage. It took years. Amazon was literally an online bookstore. They weren't making any money either. All right. Things don't happen overnight. So, and do you think they were all perfect and perfectionists at the beginning? No, they just put out a product. And then as they, talk to other people and as the time goes on, they're like, oh, okay, yeah, you're right. Let's change this. Oh, yeah, no. Okay, let's add that. Okay, let's fiddle with this. That's what you need to do with whatever your hobby is, whatever your current job is. You need to just do it.
Yeah. And if it feels forced, then it's not it.
No.
Yeah. If it feels forced, then it's not it.
Yeah. So what are some final thoughts you have for everybody on this whole, we kind of went on a few different things, but on, perfectionism, motivation, discipline, what is some final thoughts you have for everybody.
Again, I think if there's something that you have been constantly thinking about, like if it's something you can't go a day thinking about that you want to do, or something that you're excited about, something that you're passionate about, but you haven't voiced it.
Yeah.
One, say it out loud for yourself to hear.
And others.
And others. Yeah, and others. And just do it. Just don't start thinking you have to be perfect or thinking that you have to be great. Just get started. Start taking the small steps in the right direction.
Mm-hmm.
Get started with it. Don't wait till it's perfect. Don't wait till you have all your ducks in a row, because it's never gonna be all perfect and all together when you get started. You just have to start, and then you will eventually get there, as long as you're consistent and you keep going.
Mm-hmm. That's definitely one thing that for me I've noticed is I go in waves, kind of like the roller coaster ride. Is like I'll go, and then I'll like completely almost stop, and then I'll go, and I'll almost completely stop. And one thing that it always came back to me is it wasn't perfect. Mm-hmm. So like I kept realizing, okay, it's not perfect. Okay, maybe I should stop, or maybe I should do something else. Oh, let me continue. Oh, it's not perfect. And one thing that in this past year or so I've really took home is not trying to be perfect and not trying to outdo somebody else, or not try to be somebody else. Just be ourselves and just do the little things that need to happen every single day, and we will get to where we want to be. It's going to take time. That's the other thing too, is I'm a Buffalo. I want things to happen overnight. So by me changing my mindset that it's not going to happen overnight has really helped me out with my whole discipline and motivation, what have you.
Because you, as a Buffalo, you like to build.
Correct.
You have to keep building up to it.
Yeah. And yeah, I'd say that's probably about it for that one.
Yeah, no, and just and be you. Don't try to be somebody else, because there's no one that you can be better at than you. You're the best at being you. No one else can be you.
Yep.
Don't try to replicate or, shadow somebody else.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe implement what they're doing, but you can never achieve what somebody else does. You achieve what you achieve.
Exactly. Be you. So if this episode resonated with you, please do all those social media things that you're supposed to do to help us out. Yeah. Share it, like it, comment it, send it to somebody that you liked. If you didn't, well, then just delete it, and then you don't have to.
If you like it, if you don't like it, I don't know, give us some feedback.
Yeah, exactly. Give us some feedback. We want to
hear from you.
If you think we can make it better, let us know. If there's a topic or a question you want us to discuss in a future podcast, comment below as well. And we'll see you guys on the next one. Take care.
Laters.